Today we're going to talk about turning this into this. I mean, not shrinking it to that. That would be stupid. So one of the first things you want to get down is do not attack this with an axe. That would be dumber than a bag of hammers. You need to get something like this. This is a splitting maul. It's more like a sledgehammer with a very pronounced wedge on one end. It's very heavy. This is a Fiskars Pro Isocore. I'll put a link in the description for it if you're interested in it. So today I'm going to be splitting some really tough wood. It's wet old red oak. So this is not like splitting ash or something that you're going to have the easiest time in the world. It's going to break beautifully cleanly. This stuff has knots in it. It's red oak. It's tough. So this is going to be very real. This is what you're actually going to hit, unless you live in an ash forest, which lucky you. I told my boys to take the IBC Totes over to the pasture so we can use them for a water.
I'm going on the road.
And they had to figure out how to get them over there, so they are using their own ingenuity to make it happen. I think that's a hand truck under there. Yep. There they go. Always make sure that there's not chickens underneath your working area, because that might hurt something. One of the first things to get done is make sure you're splitting your round on top of another round, because you don't want the impact of your round to get sort of vibrated in the ground, and a lot of the striking force gets kind of dissipated. Second thing, when you look at this, you're going to be looking for checks in the wood. You kind of want to exaggerate those. They're going to be your easiest things to split. So if I have a check here, the one place I'm almost never going to hit is right here in the center. I'm always going to be hitting at the outer edges, because that's going to provide much more of a splitting action. You hit here, it just doesn't split. Your axe will just sink into it. And my objective is to kind of just pie this thing. I'm just going to go around in a circle, trying to open up these cracks and create some new ones. And the key thing is, what I don't want to happen is for me to just start hacking at this thing and have the two sides fall off, or one side fall off, because now I've got this 80-pound thing I've got to get back up on here. What I want to do is keep the entire thing together until the very end, when I'm going to start splitting off individual pieces of firewood. So you can watch, I'll probably talk it through, but here we go. And notice I'm not hauling through this. I'm just dropping this thing, just trying to make some initial hits to encourage this thing to start to split. And we do have a little bit of a knot here, so that spot will be difficult. You notice on there, you can come in close, that hit started to make this little spider web here. That's what you're going for. As you go around here, the whole surface will start to spider web. That's what you want. See there, that hit introduced a crack here that goes all the way up into here. What a lot of people would do at that point is they would see a crack and they would just start, I'm gonna just hack at it. Just going to cut through this entire thing just like this. Don't. Resist the urge. When you get that crack, perfect, move on. Again, crack. Definitely a knot there. That's a tough piece right there. I think this whole chunk right here is a knot. So what I might do is just kind of section that out and not worry about this piece. So this is a pretty big round. Got a pretty big wood stove we can stick this in. So this is probably bigger than most people are cutting, which is why this is a little bit harder to get through. It's also oak, red oak. So what we're gonna do here, once we've got spider webbing, we're gonna go around and we're gonna start knocking off the outer edges. Now we're just gonna kind of make a circle all the way around, pop off the outer edges, and they'll fall to the ground. Perfect, that's what we want. But I won't have to put the whole round back up. This is our knot spot right here. Go. So once you've gone all the way around, you kind of see what we're doing. You just continue that and you just keep winding in. Again, I'm not too worried if I pop it, but it doesn't come off. It'll come off the more I hit this thing. You do have to do a lot of footwork moving around this, so don't be afraid to move. You don't want to try to stay in one spot and somehow cut from every angle. Just keep moving. Here, you can see by this hump, we've got a pretty nasty knot right there, which is making it kind of hard for us to pop that out. So I'll just give this a couple hits and try to knock that off and just keep going. Let's see, that was an old branch in part of the tree. Didn't want to release. We're back to our knot here. So this is admittedly a pretty tough piece of wood because of these some of these really bad knots here and over here. But still, for a heavy knot red oak, it's not bad. Again, I'm not picking it up and putting it back on constantly. That's the key. See the if you come across something like this, don't try to attack that. You're never going to get through it. Just kind of try to go around it. Same thing with this little knot over here. Just find where the wood is willing to split and just split those spots. Popped off. But now I can put it back on really easily. It's not a problem.
When it gets small, it falls off so easy because it's so light.
Yeah. This is probably the point where you call in your teenage son and just tell him, hey, just split this piece of wood for me real quick. And if he doesn't know what he's doing, he's not going to realize that this thing is full of knots, especially here on the top. Which sometimes, if you've got some nasty knots on this side, it might behoove you to flip the thing over and start where you don't have knots. And that may make it easier to split. Woo. And a lot of bounce on this. It's splitting, but lots of bounce. And you can see that there's a wicked knot right in there. You can kind of see that. That's why it doesn't want to give up. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you. You didn't think you'd get rickrolled on a wood splitting video. Ooh. Look at that. That's what we were fighting against. There's the other half of it. Anyways, you get the point. Rather than constantly spending your time popping things apart and then lifting them up and putting them back, be content with spider webs and then pop off the outsides kind of in a spiral. Makes your job a lot easier.